Okay, welcome to a segment we call Friday Testimony. We haven't done one for a while, but it's something that we want to bring back. So you would have saw some previous Friday testimonies, and what it is that I wanted to bring you the testimonies of everyday people who've gone through something and come out the other end. And the reason I wanted to do that is because we all go through troubled times, every single one of us, and sometimes the best way of getting encouragement that we can go through those tough times is hearing someone who's also gone through those tough times as well. So it gives me great pleasure, okay, to introduce you to my mother, okay, Florence Howells. And the reason I wanted to do it was actually I had the cameraman over her house, and I just thought it'd be really good, okay, to talk about her testimony, because she's gone through some stuff through her life, and she's seen God really work through her childhood and some real dark valleys to the point where she's now having some mountaintop experiences, and I really believe that this is gonna bless you. So let's kick this off. I should say Mom's not really someone who likes to be in front of the camera. Okay, so let's kick this off. Let's start with your childhood. Where you wasn't born here, so where was you born?
I was born in the Caribbean, Jamaica.
Okay, so when did you come over?
When I was 8.
8 years old?
Yeah.
All right, tell us a little bit about that scenario.
Well, when I came, it was bad, really bad.
Yeah.
My mum came out of hospital the next day with my sister, and that's where my life really began, because I've had to wash, cook, and look after 4 kids that weren't mine. And it was that bad. I wanted to go home. I thought I could just go around the corner and get on a plane and go back to my grandmother. And I find it very difficult to get close to my mum, because as far as I was concerned, my nana was my mum.
Yeah. Wow.
You know, and I thought she should have brought me when she come, not leave me as a baby.
Yeah.
So that bond wasn't there. So
okay.
I felt like Cinderella all the time. I felt like I was treated different.
Yeah.
From my brothers and sisters that was born here, and sometimes I didn't think that God loved me.
Wow. So you had this childhood, like not the what you want.
No.
Most children have. It was one where you actually didn't enjoy your childhood.
No.
How long did that last? So you talked about the 8 years old. How long did of your childhood? Was that all your childhood?
All my childhood.
Wow.
All my childhood.
Yeah.
Until I had my son.
Yeah.
And then I left home, and then I had another one. Then I had my daughter, but then I was left on my own again to bring up 3 kids with no help.
Okay, crazy.
But I grafted, I work, and then I brought my first house on my own, because we was left in a council house, and if they took a toy out, the whole house would be a mess.
Right, yeah.
And I was so down, and I had a dream. The dream says, come on, get up, you've got ambition. My father dreamt me and says, come on, you've got ambition, get up. And the next day, I went to an estate agent, and I had 2 property. And I picked one, and one was on Stewart's Road.
Yeah, and we still own that house. I now own that house. Yeah.
And when I brought it, I moved in,
and
I said to my kids, if anything happened, this belonged to you.
Yeah.
Right, we had to start from scratch. We never had no central heating. When I wiped the window, my fingers went through the wood, so the cold would come in, and it was really cold. But I did it with the grace of God.
Wow.
And then,
because obviously, I know when you bought that house, that was a real struggle.
Yeah.
And there was times when I remember you literally had no money.
No money.
Like, so when people talk about being broke, we're talking about there was literally not a penny in the purse.
House. After I had to put water in the sugar caddy to spill it out, to give it to my kids as a drink.
Wow.
We had no food in the house, and I found a tin of beans, and we had an onion and plain flour. And I made like fried fritters with half an onion, black pepper, salt, and I fried it, and half an onion in the beans, and give it to my kids. And when I gave it to the kids, I says, what's this, Mom? I says, flour. And they says, oh, Mom, it's nice, but next time, can we have an egg? And I says, yeah. So a lot of time people see me in this situation, they don't know where I'm coming from. I used to go to the boring, and I sat the night with my kids and stand there counting my pennies and waiting for when they're bidding the meat. Yeah. And then I used to wash these uniforms on a Saturday.
This is all by hand, isn't it? This is all by hand. There's no washing machines or anything like that.
And then I used to, after the iron all the clothes, I used to start baking. what I had, so at least they'll have a few things to eat when they come from school. Or when they get up Sunday morning, you'd smell the dinner cooking, because I'd cook everything from scratch. We didn't have frozen stuff.
And so you wasn't getting any money in, so father wasn't around and stuff like that. So talk to them about like the work that you had to do and the time that you'd have to leave. Like I know you were working like
I was a chef.
jobs.
I was a manageress and the chef at the night out, so I had to work at the night out cooking and looking after my kids the same time. And then when the night out closed, my manageress brought me to Lewis's to cook.
Yeah.
And then I'd have to be in like for 7 o'clock in the morning, and I wouldn't get home till at like 6 at night, and I'd have to start cooking again.
Yeah.
And then come Christmas, it's like my life wasn't mine, because I was working like Thursday night late.
So after you worked, you worked 12 hours.
Yeah, and then I'd have to come home and start again to look after my kids.
Yeah.
And then my one brother says, let me see your wage slip. And when you see my wage slip, he says, no. He says, I'm going to get your application form for Longbridge. And I said to him, get me 2. And I went for the interview. I didn't think I'd get it because I didn't have a car.
Yeah.
And I didn't know nothing about the car. And then they asked me questions and I answered. And then it says, would you have a medical? And I says, yes. And they sent me downstairs and the nurse says, you've got the job.
Wow.
And I've never looked back.
Fantastic.
My first week's wages, I said to the foreman, my wages is wrong.
Yeah.
He says, we paid you enough. I says, you've paid me too much. And then you had your money in the brown envelope, so you had to count it.
People will never, probably the generation that watching this will never know that having money in an envelope from work, you know what I mean? Yeah.
And he says, yeah, it's right. I didn't even have no bonus the first week, so I blow the first week's wages on my 3 kids.
Yeah. You was feeling like you were rich then?
Yes.
Right,
and I've never looked back, and over time, and people, when I say to people I work at Longbridge, I said, in the office, I was on the track with my metal tin, right, running up the track, working on that engine side by side. Anything a man did, I did. And I was on that timing belt and the cranks for 3 years. And then I thought, no, it's time for me to move up. And the guy that put on, he says, Flo, I'll pay you any money if you go back on that job.
Crazy. So you were doing like a man's job, but not only was you doing a man's job, how long, because you, at the time I don't think you were driving when you first started there, so how long would it take you to get to Longbridge?
Well, I'd get up at 3:20 in the morning.
3:20 in the morning? Make
sure the kids' uniform was there, the lunch box and money, and then I'd leave my house at 4:20, run down the hill.
Was it in dark, the dark, pitch black?
To catch the first 14 to Carmore Road, and then after I get off the 14, I'll have to run across Carmore Road to get the first 62 to get to Longbridge, and then when I got dropped off, I had to run through the factory to get my uniform on and get my tools ready.
So how long would it take to travel? So like from
over 2 hours.
2 hours.
Sometimes 3 hours.
Sometimes 3 hours. Okay.
And then I had to do the 12-hour shift.
Where so 12-hour shift, 3 hours, and then to travel back home.
Working 12-hour nights on a weekend. You know, you finish 6 till 2. Then I had to go back in on a Sunday and a Saturday and do 2 12-hour nights. And you can imagine I'm tired. I mean, once I fell asleep and the foreman left me, and at the end of the shift, because it was the last break and I fell asleep, he woke me up and says, Flo, I know you're tired, but can you come and give us a hand just to finish off?
It's crazy. So here's the thing, you know, you've gone through some crazy adversities. What would you say is something that kept you going? So like when you was a child and you were in that cold house and you know
in the cold washroom.
So what? So
I always used.
Hold on, 2 seconds. Just so you had that section. Obviously, your partner left you with the kids. You had this job. What kept you going?
God.
Yeah. Okay.
God.
Awesome.
Because even though we always used to go to church right up till I was 18. And then I sort of backslide. And then I went to church when we had the house in Stetchford. I used to go to Yardley Church with my granddaughter. And then I remember the vicar said, because there the ladies was very posh and it was all quiet and we all knelt. And the vicar said, let's confess to our sins. And my little daughter went, you sin a lot, don't you, Mom? And on the way, the vicar said to me, lovely service this morning, Flo. And I never went back. But I always used to pray and I always talked to God. And then my son was getting married and he says I was on my own too long. And then he found me somebody wonderful because I never thought I'd ever get married and what's happening in my life. And then I look back and I says, God loved me first before
Yeah.
I loved myself. And all the time when I thought I wasn't loved, he was watching over me.
Yeah, yeah. So, because obviously your life now, and obviously as we start to bring this to a close and stuff, a lot of people will be able to identify being a single parent and the struggle there.
Hard.
A lot of people will identify having to do jobs you don't like or having a childhood. But obviously what you're saying now is that God brought a guy that you fell in love with, which is the most amazing guy, Colin. Now, but you also have to face trauma with that, because after getting married, finding the man of your dreams and stuff like that, unfortunately he passed away. Yeah.
He died. And I find it very hard. But I always say that if he don't get with God, there's no chance for me. And I have got the comfort to know that he's gone to a good place. And when my time comes, I'm going to meet him. And being a Christian and going to church, it helps me.
Yeah.
And I think why God took him and what happened to me is that I can help other people.
Wow.
Because I've helped people so much at the gym.
Yeah.
And then when it's happened to somebody else, they say speak to Flo. Because I've even prayed for somebody sitting in the jacuzzi. I pray for people in the shop. You know, outside the shop, it's rain, it's cold. Even in the cemetery, I've helped somebody. And I helped somebody, and I didn't tell nobody at church that I was praying for people in the cemetery. And the vicar was doing a Christmas carol in the cemetery, and one of the ladies says, there's a lovely lady that goes to your church, her name's Flo. And he thought, Flo? There's no Flo in Aston Parish. And then he realised she was talking about me. Her son died, and he's not far from her husband, and she'd go all the time, but she'd be always crying. And I sit and speak with her, and I pray with her and tell her about God. So I helped her. So she went and told the vicar what I was doing, because I didn't tell Aston Parish what I was doing outside.
Man. So here's a crazy thing that you're seeing, is that sometimes we have to go through pain. And it's not just about ourselves, it's that so we can help other people.
Yeah.
So you've been blessed in that way. But as we just close off with, like, in the last minute now, tell them about, obviously you always dreamed that when you were young you didn't think anything was going to happen, and then you bought your dream home and stuff like that. So just explain to them about some of the dreams. And so we talk about the dream home, and then you bought your dream car, you bought a car as well. So
my dream is, you know, when you see people on a Saturday getting married and they've got the horse and cart or the vintage car, I thought, I used to say sometimes, I wonder if I'll ever do that. I've done it.
Awesome.
I used to see people, my friends, just their parents is going on cruises. I've done it.
Wow. I
wanted to see tennis.
Wimbledon.
I went to Centre Court, the Williams sisters.
Awesome.
I've been on the vintage train. And had a 4-course meal, waitress service. I don't think there's anything that I've ever dreamt of that I haven't done. Even though I'm a widow, I am still blessed. I'm blessed because I've got 6 granddaughters and I've got 3 kids, and 2 of them are with Christ, and we help each other. No matter what we're going through, we can comfort each other. And I'm blessed in so many ways. I've never had a new car. I had a car and the petrol cap fell off. Remember my first car? And I put a rag in it. And driving it.
We don't recommend that now.
No. And driving it. But that's where I'm coming from. Or when I used to live in Stetchford, I had to keep phoning the neighbour because the next car I brought kept on cutting out. You remember?
What have you got now? So how did it feel to get a brand new car? No one's driving it. Brand new. You picked everything. How did that feel?
There's no word to describe. And so many people speak to me when they see me opening the boot. The boot, because the boot don't go up, it goes sideways. And
awesome.
People keep stopping me and says, oh sorry, it's just fascinating to see how your boot opening doesn't go up. You know, and I start speaking to people like that.
Awesome. So what would you say then? So, like, you know, we've seen how God's taken your life from despair.
Never give up.
And so
never give up.
Awesome.
And when you think God's not listening, He's listening.
You
know, because you say, oh God, I need this today, and you don't get it today. You think, oh, there's no God, you don't listen to me. God's listening, but you have to be obedient. And when God's blessed you, you have to bless somebody.
Wow.
And even if you bless the somebody and they don't give you back, you can always bless somebody. You know, when there's somebody in need. But even when I never had enough food, my door was always open, because I gave a party for my son, and people would come up to me and go, "Hello, Mama," and I said, "Who are you?" And it says, "I was always in your house at Stewart's Road. My house was called the Dewdrop Inn."
Yeah.
Remember?
Everyone
We never had
it.
much, but everybody loved coming to our house.
The blessing.
And even though I lost my husband, I was blessed again with my father-in-law.
Awesome.
And my mother-in-law passed away. And I didn't realise. I loved her. I knew she loved me, but I didn't realise how much she loved me.
Awesome. Cool.
So I'm blessed in so many ways.
So here's the thing. So like, I really pray that this resonates with someone who's had a terrible childhood, someone who's lost a husband or lost a partner, someone who didn't feel loved, someone whose finances are terrible, that even if you just hold on, if you endure, and if you have hope, pray, you know what I mean, that these things, okay, the good life can come your way, the good life will come, but you've got to persevere, you've got to not quit, keep going.
Keep going.
Yeah, so as we say with Friday Testimony, this is a testimony of Florence Howells, okay, how God has, you know, turned her life around. And I really believe that God will turn your life around, because God is doing things in everyday people all around the world. So God bless you, and we'll see you soon for another Friday Testimony.
And I'm not ever stopping, 'cause I'll forever be. God will forever be.